What's up, guys? Welcome back to Surfboard Stories. Thanks for everyone tuning back in. But today I'm gonna go over how to shape a surfboard from start to finish, all by hand. First things first, come in the room, grab a blank, throw it on the rack, and you get started. So you really got to think about what you're gonna make. So, you know, this customer wanted a 5'7" by 19 1/4 by 2 1/4. So forget about the length, forget about the width. All you're worried about is the thickness. So right now, I'm gonna take this board right here and I'm gonna get some calipers, these bad boys. You go get yourself a ruler, get your thickness of your board, put it on top of the ruler, and then you got 3 1/4. So if I want it to be 2 1/4 at the end, that means I need to take off 1 inch of foam on the top and the bottom, or 1 inch of foam in total, I guess. But the way we like to do it is the outside of this foam, the shell, is really stiff. Like I can't even put a finger dent into it, really. So you want to keep most of that dense, hard foam on the deck of your surfboard. So that way when you're surfing it, you're not putting as much pressure dents on it and it's stronger. So in theory, you want to take the surfboard that's inside of this blank and bring it to the top of the blank. So I'm going to do one pass on the top and I'm going to do the rest of the passes on the bottom until it gets to the thickness that I want it to be. So here we go. Let me go get my planer and we're gonna get after it. So as you saw at the end there, I grabbed a shear form, which is this little devil. It's got a grate on the bottom, and I customized it by gluing on some sandpaper on the sides so that it's a little bit more grippy. But the nose part of the surfboard is really tough to fit your planer into, because if you look at it, your planer doesn't sit. It doesn't sit flat on the board, whereas back here, it'll sit perfectly flat. So it's really tough to get that part of the board planed out. So I try my best with the planer and I come back through with a shear form and I get the rest of it out so that it's thinned out as much as it needs to be. Now we flip it over. All right, so now that I got it down to the thickness that I'm looking for, just barely shy of 2 1/4, it's a little thicker, but I really want to make sure that I have room to play with later when I'm putting the concave in the board. So I left a little bit of extra foam in it just in case, so I can take that out later once I'm putting the single concave that I'm looking for into it. So now I'm going to go rummage around the shop and look for a template. So we're in here at Timmy Patterson's glassing shop. We got one here that's 94. So 1993. So we'll throw this in here. And I think there's one more. Let's see. Boom. Just like that. Before we draw our template on, we got to get the length correct. That's 5 feet 7 inches is what we're looking for. Right here we have a 6 foot blank. I'm gonna take more off the tail than I am the nose. I'm probably gonna go 1 inch back from the nose and then the rest from the tail. So right now I'm gonna do a little bit of math, try to figure that out. So now that I got my tail cut off, I'm gonna take this tool here that gets a straight line right down the stringer all the way up and measures out the width of the tail. Right now I'm doing it at 11 inches to get the width, which I want 7 1/4. So I'm gonna go right about there and right about there. So now I got my tail width. I'm gonna come up here to the nose and I wanna get 6 3/4 inches. So this side I'm gonna do from 12. And you come over here to 6 3/4. Bam. Bam. So now that we got that, I'm gonna take my tape measure and I'm going to get the middle, exactly in the middle of my board, and get the width, the center width, which is 19 1/4. What I just did was got center, dead center, and then I went 1 inch back. That's that mark right there. So this is where I'm going to take my template, which is 9.6. Probably somewhere like that. Let's go right there. Okay, come around to the other side. So 9.6, which is like right there, let's say. I think I need to get my tail width. So let me get that real quick. And you know, sometimes I like to just do like one shaka. It's like just about 6 inches. Let's go 3. So we'll put a little mark at 3. Cool. Ooh, was that not straight? You always gotta make sure everything's super straight. Right at 3, perfect. Okay. Now we take our templates. So here we go. Now that you have it, we got our template on there. It's a little like odd kind of right around this area here, but that's okay. I'll be able to fix that later on. For now, I'm going to grab my jigsaw and I'm gonna cut it out. So I cut my template. You can see it's a little rough. You know, there's some little chunks there and some different things going on. A little bit of a dip here, but that's okay. I'm gonna take my shear form, this little beauty, and I'm gonna go over the outline like that. So I got my template straightened out a bit. Still got some little odd things going on here and there, but it's all right. We still have more opportunities to true it up correctly later. So now it's time to start putting rail bands on the board. Some people like to use a shear form, but to do the first couple passes, I'm gonna take my planer and really get some foam out of this thing. So follow along. First, add a little bit of rocker to the nose and the tail of the surfboard, and then start putting rail bands on the board. So, took a little bit. It was a little bit of a chore to get the rocker correct and everything to foil out correctly, but looks like it's coming out all right. So, I'm gonna walk you guys through where we're at right now. So, here's the board. You know, I haven't put the swallowtail on it yet. That's the last thing that you do. But if you look here, it's pretty good. You know, we got a nice little rail going on there. A little harder on the bottom, harder edge. Let's see if I can get it to focus. But yeah, it's coming out good. You know, you want to put bands all the way up to like here on the deck, all the way around the rail. And that way you have a nice smooth transition from deck to rail of the surfboard. You know, it looks like the tail of the board's pretty dang flat, which I don't really like. So what I'm probably gonna do is take a little bit out from here to there, just to, you know, add a little bit more curve to the back half of this board. But it's coming out good. Happy with it. I was able to straighten out the template a little bit as I was doing my rails. So, you know, everything's coming out pretty good. Just take a little bit of time on it, and you know, you can see here, this is how we look for how the rail's looking. You use a shadow on the board, and you can see it's a nice little like 1/8 inch shadow all the way up the board. So that's how you know it's looking straight. So, you know, you can see there's like a little bit of a lump kind of right in this area, but it's coming together. So I'm gonna keep picking away at it, probably put a swallowtail on it right now, and then tighten up the rails and go from there. Well, that's a wrap, folks. So you saw this thing go from a regular surfboard blank now to a shaped surfboard. So now all that's left to do is, actually, I'm gonna fix that really quick. Watch this. See, there's that little lump in it. Right there. This one there. Boom. Lump gone. This side's looking good. Sick. So yeah, now all that's left to do, flip it over, give it a good old signature and mark the fins. I got this tool here, from Timmy Patterson and Futures Fins. Pretty cool little fin marking device. They got twin fins and quads. They got your trailing fin. They got your front fins, like height from the tail. So you know from the true end of your board, which is right there. Now you mark your fins like that, turn it around, put that right on the edge of the rail, line up the line with the stringer, and then you mark your line. So, pretty cool little gadget, but I'm gonna mark the fins, sign this bad boy, and then I'm gonna take it right over here. I'm gonna roll out that cloth right there onto the board, saturate it with the resin, and then bring it over here and hot coat it so then they look like this right before they get sanded. And this is actually one of my boards. Side note, Timmy came in earlier today and we set the fins on that bad boy. He just hot coated it, little hot coat paste for the tail of the board. But it's so shiny, so shiny. So we got 6.0, 19, 2 3/8, 6 deep, 28 liters. A little big for me, but it's made for bigger, better, faster waves. It's got 6 channels, deep channels, and glass on fins, baby. True Ames, best in the business. So thanks everybody for tuning back in to another episode of Shop Stories. Hope you had fun watching me rip out a short board real quick. And if you guys have any tips for me, actually, I'll take any tips that I can get. So yeah, thanks for tuning back in. Like, subscribe, comment, do whatever you got to do. But I'll catch you guys next week, all right? Cheers.